Hello Miss and everybody who is seeing this video. Our video is about the story that we saw in TED. It's about the Nigerian girl who speaks about the danger of a single story. So this is a very interesting topic, and here we have our main ideas.
Everything in the world has more than one history.
We shouldn't believe only that other people say.
We need to be curious of life, research, and be explorers of all what is around us.
Behind of every story, there are talented people, wonderful places, and big surprises that we can't find.
Hi everyone, I'm going to give a little summary about the video. So the video started with Shimamanda's childhood, and she said that when she was a child, uh, she learned to read more or less when she was 2 or 3 years old. So she loved to read American books. When she read this kind of books, she had just a single story about America. That the typical story that the charming with blue eyes or the agreed weather, something like that. So when she grew up and when she started to write, she write her book based in all that she read before. So she just had a single story about America, and all her books had this point of view. I mean that the point of view of the book. So then she told us that. So in this moment, she didn't know what was to have just a single story. Then one day the mother introduced to her a boy. The mother said to her that the boy uh, was poor, and the boy lived in a poverty and something like that. So she gave this point of view about the boy, that the boy lived in misery, and something like that. So then one day she went to the boy's house, and she met with his family, his friends. She met the boy's house. She noticed that not everything was that the mother told to her. So in this moment she noticed that after that that before she just had a single story, and in this moment she discovered a new story about the boy. So also she told us about when she had 90 years old. She traveled to America, uh, to the university, and when she met with her roommate, was uh, a funny moment, because when she met with her roommate, the roommate was shocked first because she is an African girl, and then because when she started to talk, the roommate asked to her uh, uh, how how she can how she could to talk very well in English. And Shimamanda was surprised because she uh, every all every her life she talk in English because in her country, in her city, the English is the main language, and Chimamanda say that she every 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 life she talk in English, and the roommate was surprised. So because the roommates just had a single story about Africa people, that that is, I think that the history that everybody had, that the African people live, it's poor people, that the African people die of hunger, that they don't have water, they don't have money, that they don't have a good life. So for the roommate, this was that was a surprise, and then the roommate, the Shimamanda, came to notice again what is the problem that is created when a person has just a single story about the someone or some place or something like that. So the the Shimamanda say to us that we need to be more curious to reference to this, because she also come to us that one day when she listened about Mexican, she imagined that Mexican people is synonyms that immigrant people. But one day she traveled to Guadalajara, and when she was to walk in the park, she came to see every people in the park, that childs playing, uh, misters working, um, misses talking with friends, and she came to notice that Mexican people notice synonyms of immigrant people, and she feel uh, ashamed of herself for to have just a single story about Mexican people, and she never had a curious to discover more about Mexican until this day when she traveled to Mexico, and she uh, discovered the reality, or when I can to say that she discovered another story about Mexican people. So the these were a few stories that Chimamanda told us, and as she said, we the world are full of stories, so just we need to discover each of them.
Okay, so we are going to start talking about the danger of a single story. Uh, this topic was very interesting because when you analyze, there is a lot of things that you have to to take. So first, the first thing is when you uh, when you see this person that grew up in a part of Africa, and in this part was influenced by uh, different cultures, you uh, you think that everything in that place is like like the world showed to us. But when we um, analyze the story of this woman, you uh, you you know that is different than other people. For example, this woman grew up in a part of Africa that the first language was the English. The music was different. The music was the same that used in the United States, and the culture was the same thing. The same thing that was in other countries. So when you start to to analyze and to conclude, you think that in Africa all that they have is a group of person or a tribes that always have that always has in that always was in war, and that is that you keep in mind. So this person start talking about how a book or a story was influenced her life. Like the books that her read was English English book that came from England, and all that that they write is that the culture that her read in their books. So this is a very important fact that we have to take. In other part, she said that when she started reading about Mexicans, she only thinks that the Mexican was a group of person that always want to leave Mexico and go to United States, because she was they reading about it, about the history and the things that Mexican do in her life, in their lives. So the most important part here is that we have to know that in the life we don't have to schematize the people or a country. For another example, for her, when she go to a university and came in with her roommate, and the roommate think that they going to start playing a tribe music, that she doesn't know how to talk about English, how to talk English, and for her surprise, these people from Africa know English, and her favorite singer was Mariah Carey. So for conclude this, we need to know that the power of a book or a history have in our lives, and to know we have to the desire of learn about all the things and open our mind and know that the world isn't in a book or in a story that tell us.
My opinion about this video is that everybody have a stereotype about everything. So as an example, I have a stereotype about the Chinese people. My stereotype is that okay, I think that they eat noodles and they are such a almost everybody good in math. Maybe I will think that everybody about all the population are very good fighting kung fu or some of those things. So everybody have a stereotype about everything, about the food, about of our cultures, about of all of countries. So in this video, the Nigerian girl was talking about that she grew up in a um, middle step economic family. So okay, she was like more teenager. He was traveled to United States, and she discovered that in United States her roommate was thinking that Africa is just like a country. So he this problem is about because in United States people only listen about the problems in Africa with AIDS, with poor people, with stereotypes, and in my opinion we need to be very open-minded about that because okay, we all have cultures, good and bad things in all of our countries, but not everything will be so bad. And if we think Africa is a very strong and big continent, they have a lot of cities, a lot of highways, supermarkets, like in United States. But we only listen to the war, the poor people, the problems, and not the good things. And we have another stereotype about the desert, the animals, the like everybody lives in the jungle, and they lives in cultures who play the drums and dance around the fire. So in my opinion we need to be very open-minded, as I said, and not to think every time that the social medias they put some kinds of ideas in our heads that we don't about the ideas that social medias put on our heads. We don't need to let it go that ideas because there are not such um, very true at all because we only hear bad news on newspapers, on news on the internet, on Facebook. So to judge a country, a place, a culture, a thing, we need to explore and study a lot this culture or this topic that we will judge. And in my opinion, we need to doesn't follow all the things that we heard because as an example, if I heard that an article like a cell phone, if somebody tell me that this cell phone is very bad, is poor, it doesn't work good, I maybe will think it and doesn't buy it because somebody said me. But we need to prove, we need to explore, and that's my opinion. We need to, as I said, be very open-minded. And thanks.
When I start to watch the video of Shimamanda, I start to really realize that many of the people mentioned in the video, I was also in a big mistake about what Africa really is. So many more places in the world. I think it's very embarrassing to know what all around the world there's those of people who has shorter ideas about what really is happening in the world and in each of our countries, and how we don't know more than what is shown us in the media. Would be really fascinating that each of us had a chance to see the world as Chimamanda does. We could understand in a reasonable and a real way about the lifestyle of people, and able to remove ourselves from all the stereotypes imposed by entities or persons who only show one side of the stories, and make the people mind just can only have a short idea about the societies and the cultures. It's very essential to start breaking this barrier that does not let us understand our cultures, and also it's important to understand, regardless of our origins, that people are probably having the same opportunities as another people across the world. Um, I think school and universities have a big challenge because we believe that this is where we should begin to open the eyes of all those people who has been being limited to the rest of the story. We need to show to our children that across the world there are another dozen of more children from different cultures, and they also have a life, and not necessarily a bad life, as shown in the media, maybe a good life too. And books and literature are also a fundamental part to show all those aspects. For example, social, political, and economic aspects of all the forgotten nations. We think that it's very important that the news must stop talking about only the disasters that occur daily and begin to show all the good things that we are capable of get with achievement of all those changes that stop the country's development, and how with effort of many people who want to change the vision of the world are achieving break it. We need to change the models that rule the education, and also change how many information in where only half a part of the story of our country is transmitted. And I don't mean to show only good things, but all those aspects that make of a country or a culture what they really are. Change these patterns may sound very difficult, but it's only necessary that as individuals begin a change, and we must demand quality education, fight for rights, break down the barriers that keep us in ignorance. We must open to learn about all the cultures and have a broader throw about things, and should not conform with the things that are shown on television, in the radio, or internet. We must instill in ourselves that the habit of reading, because reading opens our minds and takes us out of ignorance.
Well, in conclusion, the video reveals a truly true and important issue in society and in our own lives: the danger of the single story. Perhaps many of you sometimes happens to use when we mention a place or a person, quickly comes to our head image or idea we have about this, or what we have been told. If we believe only what we think or the stories that they tell us, we run the risk of becoming missing interpretations. Today, the perception of people towards sometime or someone relies heavily on reference to give others our story we believe, without imagining the characters, moments, and circumstances may be totally different. from what you think. This video gives us a clear example with regard to Africa, which for many in the first tense only represents poverty, malnutrition, disease, disaster, and which is not. I believe that many times our stories are focused only on the negative side of things. Another clear example is that of Honduras. Many to hear this name immediately think it is a dangerous country, or there is a lot of crime, or they can kill me if I go there. Perhaps somewhere in that unique story we have is true, but it is so important to learn more about everything around us, to know what there is behind every story. There are working people, people who devote all the effort for fight for overcome. There's such talent and full of virtues. There are different places, different times, different circumstances. Not everything is negative, and therein lies the importance of knowing more, not content with believing only a story we have create or that we have been led to believe. And so we made sure not to miss the shows, wonders, secrets, and surprises that exist and are part of the story of each country and each individual. How much damage can cause, or how many opportunities we lose if we just believe one thing? This is so necessary to be researchers, curious, and perhaps a little incredulous. I heard a phrase that says, appearances do not deceive, which deceive are the expectations. Which is true in it is entirely. If each insists on believing only what we want to believe, live shit all his life and will not have the opportunity to check whether the story is true, to change or improve the version. This video gives us a great lesson. Learns to see beyond appearances. The view may be different if we approach of from another angle. Life is not based in one story, but several stories are those that make up life.
Thank you for watching the video, and remember, Shimamanda says
That when we reject the single story,
When we realize that there is never a single story about any place,
We regain a kind of paradise.
Thank you.